And Brock Lesnar starts us off on this edition of SmackDown, where he comes out and he says, the suspension has been lifted. Brock Lesnar is back on SmackDown. His beard and rat tail look is really hard to turn away from. I love it. Like I love it when he just shows up with the tattoo and just like when he's in fight mode, but like when he's wearing a shirt, it looks that much more unusual and again that much more difficult to look away.
For the man of the financial foundation this man sits upon, could the man get a tailor for his pants? Like, could his jeans go longer? Could he, like, does he even need shoes on? These things are just engulfing his feet. These jeans that he wears.
I mean, I don't know if that's the style out in Saskatchewan. You know, it could be the trend. I would imagine it's intentional. You know, I also don't know how much the man really pays attention to the length of the seam of his pants.
I would venture to guess he doesn't own a mirror when he ventures out. Like, oh, you're getting on a plane, you're going on television like that. Oh, okay.
I wonder, because I think a beard like that actually takes quite a bit of time to groom, and a rat tail like that, I'm sure it doesn't just come. You know, it's not just natural. Like he probably puts a lot more time than we think.
It's not natural, but it's a look.
He says he is here for the Universal title, and he's about to tell us how he got his suspension lifted when Sami Zayn interrupts. Sami Zayn walks out. He says that we have a ton in common, you and I, Brock Lesnar. We're both Canadian alpha males, as he compliments Brock on his new look. Brock says he has no idea who this is and asks if it's a fan. He says, yes, I live in Saskatchewan. I hunt, I kill, and I eat things in Saskatchewan. And who are you to interrupt me? Sami Zayn says he is the number one contender, and he will be happy to grant a title shot to Brock Lesnar after he beats Roman Reigns at day one. Brock says, well, why wait until day one? Why don't you face Roman Reigns tonight? Zayn says he would, but he doesn't really like Texas, and he kind of has a thing with his hip until he puts his hand on Brock's chest as he's backed into a corner, and Brock twists his arm, literally, until Zayn reluctantly agrees to the match. So Brock even says he'll be in Sami Zayn's corner tonight, and we have a main event, Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship tonight on SmackDown.
This was straight up duress.
But in WWE, I think
he said it. The words came out of his mouth. That's legally binding.
Pretty much, yeah.
Those are the rights of our independent contractors. Yes. I thought this was probably the most like levity we've seen out of Brock Lesnar in like since Boombox Brock. These two worked off each other. I thought really well. I thought Zayn was fantastic on this episode. I mean, it was not an episode designed to come out of it where you are thinking about Sami Zayn, but I thought he's great. He's unfortunately kind of just roadkill in the grander scheme of this major story, but he was fantastic.
He's a funny comedy guy, but you know, like I thought here displayed incredible chemistry with Brock Lesnar. This to me felt like a very different Brock Lesnar than we've seen in his current WWE run. Obviously, without having Paul Heyman and also now being a babyface kind of allows him to completely refresh himself, not just in look, but also in character as well. This actually felt a lot more like UFC Brock to me. You know, he's not just a muscle, but he's somebody who speaks, and he feels a lot more like that kind of cocky, confident, playful personality that we got sometimes when he was doing press conferences and post-fight interviews.
He's going to go drink a Coors because Bud Light doesn't pay me anything.
It's that type of energy, you know? Like if WWE was really allowed these guys to improvise, I mean, he's probably one step away from that. But
I watch my football on ESPN, not Fox.
Yeah.
Fox doesn't pay me anything.
Totally, yeah. I eat my pizza at Domino's and not Pizza Hut, yeah. I thought he was a lot of fun to watch. And again, Zayn had just this wonderful comedic chemistry with him. So I'd love to see more of these two together.
Yeah, I would not want to overextend Brock in speaking roles, but this segment was fine because it was such a departure from the usual stoic, silent killer that is Brock Lesnar. But I remember back when they turned him babyface in like 2003, and he got into like goofy babyface, not so much goofy, but a lot more like this, and it got to be just Brock is not suited for this consistently, but every now and again, it's novel.
He's not suited for comedy that other people write for him, I don't think. Like this at least felt a bit more authentic to like I think he probably has actually quite the sense of humor that we don't always get to see. I can buy that.
Oh, I think he has a ton of sense of humor when he's, showing up at UFC events when, he's having issues with WWE or vice versa and playing one against the other. I think he's just laughing uproariously.
Sami Zayn comes out. He says he has a guardian angel on his shoulder tonight, and that's Brock Lesnar. He's gonna.
He was awesome. He was really my favorite part of the show.
Thinking about Brock Lesnar with like wings, like would be just great. He says he's gonna shock the world tonight and defeat Roman Reigns to become the new Universal Champion, and the only person he's gonna thank afterwards is Brock Lesnar. So Brock comes out. Sami Zayn says, "You don't have to help me win. But if you did, you would probably have an easier time against me than Roman Reigns at day one." And Zayn starts to bring up Brock's poor track record of late against Roman Reigns. And of course, this offends Brock, who was probably here to beat up Sami Zayn anyway. So Brock just starts suplexing Zayn. 3 German suplexes, 2 F5s, and he props up Sami Zayn's dead body in the corner for Roman Reigns, and he leaves the ring. So the idea is that Brock did all this just to basically get rid of Sami Zayn as a next challenger so that he can face Roman Reigns at day one. And, at this point, like, do you think, John, this was the entire point of that battle royal? Was to just, like, give another joke victim for Brock Lesnar to just play with the next week ahead of day one?
It felt like I didn't see them playing out Sami Zayn and this title match till January. But I expected them to just cash it out on television. But this very much felt as though it was almost just tying up this loose end that they created last week.
And it didn't, it probably shouldn't have been a loose end. I feel like Jeff Hardy was right there. Would a Jeff Hardy match
people would have been, this would have sucked if Jeff Hardy was in this role.
Well, you didn't need to have Brock Lesnar beat up Jeff Hardy. But, if you're going to go through the effort of that battle royal, why not simply have somebody like a Jeff Hardy win to set up a big TV match that you would probably, spike a decent rating for, have Roman Reigns win, and then still build up to the Brock Lesnar match somehow?
I think maybe they look at, hey, we don't have a giant depth of baby faces here when Brock isn't around, and Sami Zayn is easy collateral damage versus beating Jeff, at least now. Why do
Jeff's going to lose anyway. He's going to lose in this feud with, who's he facing? Madcap Moss and
with Corbin? I don't think so. I guess maybe they didn't want to make Jeff the sacrificial lamb here. So I thought that by the end of this, I thought they were going to hold off this match until next week and actually promote the title match for a week, but they did not bother with that. They just threw out the trash here in Sami Zayn, and you got 16 seconds.
Yeah. Reigns comes in, hits a spear, guillotine, and Sami Zayn taps out. Reigns keeps the title. And it's Reigns versus Brock, made official at day one on January 1st. So
yeah, which is, are you surprised that they're going to that rematch so quickly and at this of all shows?
Yeah, a little bit. Absolutely. If anything, I thought they would save a Brock Lesnar appearance for a stadium show at the Rumble. So this makes me wonder certainly what their role will be, whether Brock will even be a part of the Rumble.
I think for sure he'll be part of the Rumble. I guess the question is, if you're doing this on January 1st, can you imagine a third match by Mania? Like that's a lot for these two, but it's your top program on either show by leaps and bounds.